Yeah.
This is Marathon Money. This is Kenny Coins. I'm with Andre Matters. Am I saying your last name correct?
Mattar.
Mattar. Okay. Andre, man, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. I really
Thank
glad
you for
you
having
can
me.
take some time. I know you have like a wealth of knowledge. Definitely in the commodity space, Forex. I just talking to you a bit before the show. You were living in the Middle East for a while. Um, tell me about your life. Tell me how like all this, how you started and then how where you're at now.
Uh, Actually, I started in the markets at a young age. I was more in the construction aspect while I was in the Middle East. I was a developer, and through a friend of mine who was a banker, introduced me to the foreign exchange markets. In those days, in the early 90s, it was mostly you're buying contracts. It's not like today online where you press a button, you can buy or sell an instrument. It was mostly margin calls and so on and so forth. So at the end of the night, if you don't have a margin to cover your contract, and in those days it was $120,000 each contract, and there was a lot of trading in the options market, and it closed. So the FX market wasn't a 24-hour trading as today. It would open during the London period and during the Chicago or New York trading, and then it would close at 4 o'clock, and we'll start over again once London opens. Uh, and then once the online became available, that was in the late 90s, early 2001, the introduction of MT4 and all these platforms, it became easier to trade. And from previous experience, trading in such a difficult environment with margin calls and that, online became much simpler avenue to trade the FX market. And that's why you saw a boom in all these retail brokers and a boom in the FX market because they made it very lucrative for anybody that has $100 or $200 to open an account and trade. And it was became like a casino for a lot of these retail brokers that enticed clients, even younger kids. I remember in those days that had $100 or $200, they would open an account and say, "Wow, we made $30 that day." For them, it was big money. In reality, the FX market continues to be a very hot commodity or hot uh, avenue for people that want quick profits. It is not made for everybody. As you know, in this market, close to 90 to 95% lose their accounts or lose money because they're not aware of the risks involved or they high margin their accounts. So if you are a very smart trader with years of experience, yes, you can make money. You can be from those 5 to 7% that are profitable, but the rest are greedy. I call them fly by night traders that come in, they can make a profit in the first month, second month, but on the third month, they blow away their accounts. I had clients that come to me that were down $2 million. I recouped their losses within the first year because of smart trading. And I do have, track history of this and so on. Today, I would have to tell you that this market is manipulated and there's a code. And I can be honestly tell you, I know where the code is and where and why. As you can see, you mentioned in our previous discussion that I posted give you an example about gold. Friday last week, we had the U.S. non-farm payroll. On Thursday, before the non-farm payroll, I mentioned gold is going to take a tumble. And I mentioned in my posting that no matter what the outcome would be on Friday, gold would be a tumble. A lot of people that follow me are actually taking my advice, placing orders on my recommendation. If you did that on Friday, you would have earned $5,000 per contract in one. It happened within the first 3 hours after the announcement came in. You would have risked $600 because there is smart traders will always put a stop loss. And you would have had a profit of $5,000 by the end of the day. So this is the Forex market. There's so many charts that actually dictate where the instruments are going, no matter what you're looking at. If you're looking at, let's say, at the NASDAQ 100, the Dow index, those are very fast-moving, profitable instruments. Then you have the US dollar against all the 5 major currencies. The pound, I knew exactly where the high was going to be. And you can see from previous postings also, I mentioned I called the top on the pound and the euro. That was 2 weeks ago. A lot of traders are saying, well, the Feds are going to be lowering interest rates in September, which is on the 17th, I believe. There's the Fed decision. And as of Friday's announcement on the non-farm payroll, now they're talking about 50 basis point decline in the Fed fund. And that should have taken the dollar much lower against all major currencies. But in fact, the dollar strengthened with all that bad news. Why? Because the charts are telling you this is the reason. 95% of the people, again, went the wrong way, while the 5% that know and read the charts know where it's going. And I am one of the small 5% that you are looking at.
So what made you so proficient at chart reading? What was the thing? What was the thing that turned into you pretty much a master at this point, you know?
Actually, it was taught to me by a very old gentleman. He was a banker while I was in the Middle East. And to be honest, in my construction business, when I first entered the FX market, I did lose a lot of money, just like those 95% the people that I mentioned, due to greed, stupidity, bad trades, over leveraging your account. So I was down about $500,000 in those days. And this old gentleman that used to work for the bank came to me and said, you know what, I'm going to show you something. And this just a simple idea on how to read the charts and when to buy and when to sell. And he's telling me, you know, this is just one small idea. Look at it, study it, and then use it. And from there, I refined it. I kept looking. I did some backtracking on the charts themselves. And as I refined it, it became that I could now open different time frames on charts from 15 minutes to daily charts or even weekly charts to tell me the directional move of any instrument. People use Elliott wave. These Elliott waves are actually the system that I'm using to create the ups and downs of the chart itself. Sometimes you see, let's say, I'll give you an example, the pound dollar. it goes up, and then all of a sudden, within the same day, it's going down big time. And people are scratching their heads. We were in a profit, and all of a sudden, the market reversed on us. Why? Because within that daily trade, the 15 minutes time frame is dictating to you that it reached a point of no return, and this is now a reversal period. So I can actually, within a day, within the early markets, I can figure out where the direction on that particular day, plug in my limit orders, and wait for the cycle to begin. During maybe around noontime, if the 15-minute reached the peak or the bottom, as if I'm long or short, then I know to exit and reverse the movement. But the way this system works is that you are looking at a long-term period. So I plug in a daily. I know that the pound in the next month or so is heading south. I'm always in a short position to protect any long positions that I might do intraday. So by the time I start the cycle, by the time it ends, if I open one position, it becomes a V, inverted V. By the time I exit all my positions, one would have given me 5 open positions. So I am actually adding on to positions as the pound dollar goes in my favor. And that's how you can generate large profits and in a quick time, and yet with zero risk to any account. I know we went off course of what you were asking, but
no, it makes, I understood it all. One thing I want to go back to, like you said, the markets are manipulated now. Do you feel like that about all the markets, like the stock market, the Forex market, even crypto market?
Even crypto market, even there was a posting about, another gentleman posted about NVIDIA, which is everybody's favorite stock.
Right now, yeah, AI.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Right. And this was before the announcement of their quarterly profits, was about a week and a half ago. And it was trading at $129 before the announcement came out. I commented before the announcement, I said, bad news, this stock is going to $59.
$59? You mean the stock
Yes.
that was trading at before the split over 1,000?
Okay, it was the split
before
is
the
10
split,
to 1.
and yeah, 10-1 before the split was
Right.
trading over 1,000. Everybody loved it, and then
yes.
what is that, 129 before the quarterly earnings? You're saying it might go down to $59?
No, I said it's going to $59. On Friday, it closed below the 102.
Yeah, it closed on Friday before, but you think it's going down to 59?
59.
I know they lost over 200 billion. Am I correct?
They lost. It's not that. It's the news is just news. It's smoke. It is the charts, and the big boys, the big investors rely on the charts to dictate their open and close positions. And the charts are telling us that this stock is going to below $60 because the mathematical equation on that stock, there's I forgot to mention, there's like a calculated mathematical equation that is used, that you multiply a certain number by the range or the peak of that particular bar, and it will give you the bottom of where the stock will go to. I've done that on Tesla, and it worked out to 95%. And I've worked that on NVIDIA now because I had so many emails coming to me. I don't trade NVIDIA, but I have associates that came to me and said, Andre, what do you think of NVIDIA? Is it going to continue? And before the announcements, so many idiots out there on LinkedIn were mentioning, oh, this thing's going to go up $10 to $20 after the news. Before the news, I said, sorry, bad news. You will see, I can even send you after this a link to what I've mentioned. I said, bad news, $59 within weeks.
Wow.
And the reason why also is that the previous calculations I have on the NASDAQ 100 is that it's going back down to July of 2022 lows. The NASDAQ 100 is currently trading around 18,500, 600. I don't know what's going to open in 7 minutes, but that's where the NASDAQ 100, it's going to go below 15,000 on the index. So there's no way that NVIDIA or all these magnificent 7 stocks are going to be up high when the main index is going to be around 15,000. Why?
What's your opinion before we get off? What's your opinion on the NASDAQ? What's your opinion on the Dow? What's your opinion on the S&P?
They're all going south.
They're all going south. Why? What are you
the
seeing in the
charts are
chart?
telling me so. Because they peaked. The Dow had a target of 41,700 from a low that it did several years back when the Dow, I believe, was at, let me just pull this up for a second. I believe it was 28,000. I'm just going to my charts.
Right now, the Dow's at 40,345.
Yes.
That's where the Dow is right now.
Correct.
And it last week, because I'm on the weekly chart, last week it opened at 41,481, 489, and it's down over 1,000 points.
Okay. There's a bar on the Dow on the 30th. At the end of September in 2022.
We're going way back.
Yeah, 2 years ago, there's a major daily bar that it showed a low of 28,600.
September of 2022?
Yes, at the end of the lowest bar on a daily chart. And from there, we started moving up.
On September 30th, 2022.
September 30th or October
1st or October
3rd, I believe. Yeah.
October 3rd, we're looking at October 3rd of 2022. What? That was 28,000. The opening was 28,855.
Yeah, I believe it did a low of 28,600.
Yeah, 28,000. The low for that October 3rd was 28,855. And the high was 29,647. Why that particular?
Are you looking at the cash or the futures? Or
I'm looking at the Dow Jones, I think cash. What are you looking at? You want me to look at the futures?
No. I only trade the cash because the future expires and the new contract opens up. So I'm always looking at the cash.
Yeah. So why that particular day? What that particular?
The lowest point in the chart dictates where the Dow is going to go to. And it's that particular range that multiplied by a certain equation gives you the target of where it's going to. And from that day, I was long the Dow, I would say 70% of the time.
Okay. Another question I have. Is that where demand sits?
It has nothing to do with demand.
Has
Chartists
none.
like myself and like Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and all these traders that work there, the ones that I know, I call them the House of Seven. There's 7 houses around the world that are the biggest traders that know exactly where the market is going. The rest that you watch on TV, Bloomberg, CNBC, all this, they come out with analysts after the fact trying to tell us why the market is down or why the market is up. It is those that are reading the charts that know, okay, now we're in a boom cycle. Since the low that I mentioned to you from 2022, we reached the target price last week on the Dow. The target price on the NASDAQ was reached 2 weeks prior to the Dow. That's why you had what they called people exiting the high-flying NASDAQ and buying the blue chip stocks. So that's why you saw this invert where the Dow was moving up and the NASDAQ was moving down. Now we have either both of them on Friday. We're moving down sharply together because the Dow completed that cycle that started at 28,000 that I mentioned to you. And now the Dow is on a down cycle with the NASDAQ. It's not a
How
big.
long do you think
It's not a big down cycle. We're looking at about 6,000 points on the Dow to decline from the recent highs.
So you're talking about what?
35,000, 35,000 something on the Dow to reach.
35,000.
S&P, I'm looking at 4,200 to 4,300. It is trading at 5,000 or something, right?
I'm seeing all these levels. There's like a lot of levels between now and 35,000. So you're telling me it's going to break all those levels?
Yes. And if you read previous postings from a month ago, I mentioned we could be in a bear market. And if you look at my activity, you would see a posting that mentions that.
Okay. I follow along. I'm understanding everything you're saying. I see the chart. I see what you're talking about now. I see the movement. I see the volume. I can see the downtrend forming. I can see where the levels have peaked.
Okay.
There's a few things that I want to know. You got federal rate cuts that might happen.
No, it's going to happen, but usually the history dictates when that does happen, usually the opposite happens to the equity market. So if Powell is going to do a 50 basis point drop in the next week or so, I believe in 10 days or less, in 8 days, that's on the 17th coming out, you're still going to see the opposite happening to the equity market, which is the indexes themselves. And that means there's going to be a continuous sell-off in the equity markets, no matter, because whatever Powell does, it's already baked into the pricing. So it's like you knowing what somebody's baking for you and you're not surprised. So why would the market move up when they already know it's if he does a quarter, then it's even going to go sharply down because market anticipation is for half a base point because of the Friday bad news that came out. But in reality, the traders or the chartists that are reading the charts know exactly that this market, if there is any pullback, it's an opportunity for them to short the market once again or short the index we had the index. If you look at the daily charts on the NASDAQ 100, we peaked at 20K, 20,700. We dropped to 17,250. And if you put a Fibonacci from the high to the lows, we retraced exactly at 23%. Exactly to the penny. And the lowest bar on that daily chart, when it hit 17,250, dictated to me that we have a bounce back to that 19,950 where we saw it last week or the week before. And ever since, we've been trending lower. Today, being Monday, the first week, a full week, we might see some sort of a small profit taking from all the shorts that were activated on Friday. But I believe and I suspect that by the end of the day, the markets will be in negative territory come close day. So again, this is what the charts, I'm not God, I'm just a person that reads the charts, and the charts are telling me what to do. I block out all the noise, all the TV, all the analysis that are coming out, because these are coming out after the fact. On the weekend, I was reading a lot of these social medias. One of them actually was mentioning gold. They said now we see a new trend in gold, that gold, since it didn't break above $2,530, it looks like it might be taking a leg down. Might be. Where I mentioned that on Thursday, it is going down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, so now I got like a ton of questions because I feel like the theories
That's
that
why
I
I
had,
mentioned to you, I don't advertise my service. It is just by word of mouth. And the people that do come in are very high-end clients. At one point, I had 186 million under management.
wow.
That was before COVID, through a German bank. So it was regulated by German bank. And the nice thing is clients can move funds from their account back to their FX account, vice versa, and so forth.
Now,
Go ahead.
how much do you have under management now?
Something a little north of that.
Okay.
During COVID, a lot of people got scared also and moved their accounts. The world was in a panic mode, and nobody wanted to keep funds under management and trading. So a lot of these are coming back. A lot of them actually invested in real estate. So it's a nice business. That's why I don't want to advertise too much, because sometimes if I tell people the return per month is so high, they won't believe you.
Yeah, no, I completely hear you. We got a few more minutes. I just got two more questions. The first question is, what do you think about the AI industry, artificial intelligence? You got NVIDIA. NVIDIA is the infrastructure of AI. You got Tesla trying to do self-driving cars. Apple's trying to step in with ChatGPT. Like, what is your Amazon's trying to get more into AI? So what do you think, like, where should somebody put their money in the AI space? Because now there's so many players now.
That's a good question. It is a little bit difficult to, it's a little bit difficult to understand it. And I really don't have an answer for you, to be honest. I really don't. I'm more of, I look at the companies, okay, they're performing, they're making profits, but at what point does this profit ends? It's like a fad. People
Yeah,
get excited
you're
about
saying about
something.
like you're saying about Nvidia. It was a
Yes,
fad. You're 100%
it
right.
is a fad. Yes.
Yes.
The
Yes.
internet 30, 40 years ago was a fad. Okay, a lot of companies came and gone. Some are still around, but how many people lost betting on the wrong company? And if you look at all these stocks that are 20 and 30 uh, times the value of their actual stock, future values, it's ridiculous. Can Nvidia keep up with the demand if there's other competitors coming on the market? Now they got the DOJ issuing a investigation against Nvidia for antitrust. So there's so many things that are happening. I don't believe it's sustainable. AI is a good uh, system, or I don't know how you want to call it, but in the future, my kids and your kids, will they have jobs if we have AI? How risky is this AI? Are we going to have robots running the systems for us because they're AI? It is dangerous. As an investor, okay, you might enjoy investing in something that is making you money. But in the long run, as human beings, is this the right way to go? Should there be a limit to what AI does?
Yeah.
You know,
What
I
one more question
yeah, go ahead.
before we hop off. What was the thing that made you successful? Because you have a lot of under management. You're really intelligent about the chart. You're really intelligent about the market. What is the thing that in the last 10, 15 years that made you successful and keep on going?
Kenny, I don't know what sport you watch. If you watch NBA, is LeBron James successful? Why is he LeBron James? They're called the king. Why is he successful? Was Michael Jordan successful? Because they could perform. Simple as that. You want people that can perform and not talkers. There are so many talkers out there, so many people that are pretenders. It is the ones that don't talk too much that can actually put on social media exactly where a price is going and not be afraid of any feedback because he knows this is where it's going. That's what made me successful. Patience, uh, having a good communication with my investors. My investors are very secretive people. They don't want to be out there. I respect that. And if I tell you something, I will bend backward to commit to that commitment that I gave you. So that what makes me successful. And if I can't do it, I come to you and I tell you, Kenny, I can't do it. So being honest and being successful and having a performance on a quarterly or monthly basis is what keeps me going and what makes me happy and what makes people around me happy. And I work hard. I'm up at 4 a.m. trying to see what European markets are doing. I am in bed by 9:30, 10 o'clock maximum. So, I'm bombarded every day with so many emails and requests and so on. I try my best to respond. And whenever I have time, I like to share the wealth effect by posting on a couple of social medias where I believe things are. You asked me about cryptocurrency. Crypto is in a down move. we could see Bitcoin around 30 to 26,000.
You think that much of a down move?
Oh, yes.
That's a big down move.
Well, if you are holding Bitcoin, it's they call it a luxury instrument, because as the markets or equity markets start to tumble, first thing people want to do is liquidate their Bitcoin so they can hold on to their equity stocks. So that's the easiest thing to liquidate. And if you can see, once the market starts going south, so with the cryptocurrencies.
All right. I am seeing that crypto is down. Bitcoin is down. I know because the equity market is also down. I know Bitcoin's in a cycle, and I know that I can see 40, maybe high 39,000, but 2630 that's pretty steep. But Andre, I want to say thank you for coming on. I really appreciate. I learned a tremendous amount.
Anytime, my friend. Anytime.
And I hope we can definitely do this again. I think your insight knowledge will be vital. Definitely going to be looking out for the things you said about the NASDAQ. Definitely going to be looking out for the things you said about the Dow. The way you put things is I think everybody can understand, and I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.